Trustees of the Harris County Department of Education is now convened in a regular board meeting on Wednesday, February 28th, 2024, in room 502 at 6300 Irvington Boulevard, Houston, Texas, at 1:01 p.m. We wish to extend a warm welcome to everyone present at this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports from the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and set policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the department are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on today's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear matters discussed. During the course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as permitted by section 551.071 to 551.084, inclusive of the Texas Government Code. I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking and that cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. Thank you for taking time today to join us and for your interest in the Harris County Department of Education. We will start with our invocation by Laura Espinosa with the administrative assistant of construction.
Good afternoon, Mr. Colbert, esteemed board members. Let's bow our heads. Lord, we are assembling today to direct matters of business. Please guide our hearts and our minds in the essence of fairness, right thinking, and dialogue. Impart your supreme wisdom and insight upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful ending. Thank you for being a source of our leadership today. Amen.
We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flags by Kaylin Jackson, General Office Clerk at Adult Education.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, guys. We do not have any visitors or guests here to address the board for open forum, so we will move on to reports and presentations with the recognition of Black History Month by Danielle Clark, Chief Communications Officer.
Thank you, Madam President, Mr. Colbert, members of the board. Throughout the year, HCDE honors and recognizes members of our community who've made significant contributions to education in our society. So throughout the year, we do different groups. So we had Hispanic Heritage Month. This month, we have Black History Month. And then coming in the summer, we'll have Asian Pacific Islander Month. So today, we have a short video for you in honor of Black History Month.
In the rich tapestry of American history, Black History Month serves as a beacon,
illuminating the extraordinary contributions of African Americans.
From resilience to innovation, let's embark on a journey through time.
We honor pioneers like the great conductor of the Underground Railroad, Harriet Tubman. They would gather and sing, "Go down, Moses, way down Egypt land, tell old Pharaoh, let my people go." Her bravery led countless to freedom.
And Martin Luther King Jr., whose dream echoed through the halls of justice.
Black history is a story of triumph.
From the groundbreaking work of scientists like George Washington Carver
to the artistic brilliance of Maya Angelou. And yet I rise Each achievement paves the way for a brighter future.
The struggle for civil rights was a collective effort. Rosa Parks sparked change by taking a stand.
And the civil rights movement laid the foundation for a more inclusive society.
Here at HCDE, we honor those strong examples of leadership as we celebrate Black History Month.
And we are so thankful for what those who went before us accomplished.
So that we can continue to reach new heights as Americans and Black Americans.
Happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month. Thank you, Carter G. Woodson.
Happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month.
Greatly appreciated. Thank you, guys. Does anyone have anything they'd like to say?
I would like to hear Trustee McGee sing again. I've been calling him Teddy Pendergrass up here.
It was beautiful. Well appreciated. All right, we will move on to the Employee of the Month. Dr. Tyrone Sylvester, the Executive Director of Human Resources.
And before you start, Dr. Sylvester, I just want to introduce, this is our new HR Director, Dr. Tyrone Sylvester, and so this is your hazing process for his first board meeting. He's got to step up to the mic, so we appreciate you here, and thank you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Madam President, Mr. Colbert, Board of Trustees. Today we honor Mr. Michael Rowe as our February Employee of the Month. Michael is an educational aide at ABS West and a program specialist in CASE after-school program in Alief ISD. Mr. Rowe is a servant leader at heart. He is happiest when helping others, something he learned from his parents. Lisa Carruthers, Senior Director of CASE, who nominated Mr. Rowe, said Michael jumped in to help CASE coordinate the EcoBot robotics tournament at ABS West last summer when the program manager could not do it. She immediately noticed his dedication to students, doing whatever was needed to ensure the program was a success, along with his positive attitude and solution-oriented mindset. She said she felt as though they had worked together as a team for years instead of just days. In the planning of the EcoBot Challenge, we encountered many hurdles. While we were determined to make this event happen, my stress levels were running really high, Dr. Carruthers recalled. I remember sitting in ABS West classroom and being calmed by Mike's steady and quiet fortitude. On the heels of the EcoBot success, CASE needed an interim site coordinator at Alief Middle School to start the school year. Dr. Carruthers said the team wondered if Mike would put in the same effort for another division. And Michael being Michael, the answer was absolutely. Mr. Rowe stepped in to get the program up and running and beginning of the year until the permanent site coordinator could be found. He enjoyed it so much. He stayed on as an educator teaching entrepreneur classes for CASE's Kids Day entrepreneurship event, supporting robotics, leading STEM activities, and even coaching basketball. Mr. Rowe is an exceptional human being, Dr. Carruthers said. Despite his demanding schedule, Mike consistently delivers outstanding results, displaying resilience, determination, and a positive attitude every day. Dr. Carruthers said that Mr. Rowe exemplifies the qualities of an outstanding employee with his dedication, hard work, and perseverance. He is one of a kind in his support for all of HCDE. Mike's ability to maintain high performance in both positions reflects his exceptional time management skills and passion for his work, she said. His willingness to go above and beyond for the success of both teams, CASE for Kids and ABS West, is a testament to his strong work ethic, genuine care for the task at hand, and all Harris County students. Our comms team has prepared a short video highlighting Michael's accomplishments and servant leader attitude.
Mike Rowe is an exceptional human being.
Good job, man.
Things that I know to be true about Mike. Mike loves HCDE and Mike loves kids.
I like that. ABS West educational aide Michael Rowe has dedicated his life to service. And for him, that means always making sure others come first and that their well-being is his priority.
So, I'm an educational aide 3/behavior coach / mentor. I'm a part of the team to help maneuver these kids back to a straight and narrow.
The kids trust him. The kids know that he's fair. He's stern, very stern.
Let's do it together. I don't judge you. I'm here to encourage you. Find that diamond in the rough and let it shine, man, and let it shine.
He starts his day off accompanying a Fort Bend ISD student on the bus to ABS West. Then he's at school all day. And in the afternoon, he's on the bus again, taking the student back to Fort Bend. And from there, he heads to A-Leaf Middle School to help with the Case for Kids after-school program.
I asked him one day, man, when do you sleep?
Good job.
Michael became involved with Case for Kids through the summertime All-Earth EcoBot Challenge.
And then all lights green. All right, press play and see what happens.
He handled the robotic part, I handled the curriculum and the logistics, and in a week's time we came out with a robust event to serve those kids. We had so much fun.
And as a new school year approached, Case for Kids needed an interim site coordinator for A-Leaf Middle School.
He is one of those guys that can go in and teach robotics to kids every day. He can play basketball with kids, but he can also be a disciplinarian. And I think that the kids really love someone who gives them structure and excitement and wants to play with them at the same time.
I like that smile and that aha moment that you get with a kid. That's what gives me peace of mind that I've done the job that I was supposed to do.
Michael attributes his devotion to the students to his loving parents, Laura and John Rowe.
I had a great childhood. I had absolutely nothing but showered with love and affection from both my mother and my father and my sister. We were a tight-knit family. We've always have been, always will be. And I was notorious for being inquisitive. I would always try to figure out how things worked. So I would disassemble the telephone to figure out how it worked. Of course, when you're new to that, you don't know how to put it back together again. So my mother would like, why isn't this phone working? I said, I don't know. It was me. And I studied guidance, communication, and air traffic control.
And it was his sister, who's a teacher, knew Michael's gift for connecting with others. She encouraged him to try teaching. He got an interview with former ABS West principal, Dr. Victor Keys.
And I don't think I got a block and a half away from after the interview for Dr. Keys. Hey man, when can you start, man? So anyway, that's how I got at ABS West.
And for the last 8 years, he has lent a listening ear and given his heart to his students.
Just let me know if you have any problems, okay? I want to be helpful. I want to give those that don't have and provide for those who can't provide for themselves. That's what I do.
Introduce to you Mr. Michael Rowe, our February 2024 Employee of the Month.
Thank you for your hard work and dedication. We really appreciate you and your impact on these students. We'll have the superintendent's monthly report.
Thank you, President Duhan. Once again, I'd like to take an opportunity to recognize 2 new cabinet members with Harris County Department of Ed. We have Dr. Tyrone Sylvester, who just presented. He's our new Executive Director of Human Resources, and we have Dr. Michelle Williams. She is our new Executive Director of Facilities and Maintenance. So I'm happy to have a tight crew, and I think they're going to be a great addition to HCDE. This past month has been a very, very busy month, and it seems like we have to earn our days off. And so I want to go through some of the things that have gone on just in this past month. February 2nd, we gave a tour to Commissioner Briones of Fortis Academy and some of her staff. February 2nd, we also, Ms. Bartz and I attended the Grand Slam event, which is honoring Mayor Turner, who had just retired, or not retired, but stepped down, and Coach Dusty Baker. On February 8th, we had the HAPSI Teacher of the Year event, which I had to speak at. February 9th, we had boardwalks where we had Trustee Brown and McGee attend boardwalks with us for half a day when we went to look at construction sites. February 21st, I was the keynote speaker at the Touchdown Club of Houston, which recognizes outstanding scholar athletes. These are students who are valedictorian, National Merit Scholars, scoring 1,500 on the SAT, going to Brown University, Harvard, who are standout athletes also. Also on February 21st, Ms. Bartz and I attended the HISD State of the District Luncheon with Mr. Miles, superintendent out there. Next day, on February 22nd, I hosted a superintendent's dinner where we had 10 different superintendents throughout the county, recognizing Dr. Smith, the new superintendent of Fort Bend. February 23rd, we attended, when I say we, I think it was about 7 or 8 of us attended the Channelview ISD State of the District. February 27th, which was yesterday, Ms. Clark and I did a presentation called Secret Sauce 2.0 at TSPRA, where we did a presentation on convocations. Tomorrow, I will also sit on a panel with TSPRA. It'll be a superintendent panel. I'll do that in the morning. We are hosting, I think tomorrow, I believe, Ms. Bartz, the Senate District 15 Candidate Forum will be tomorrow afternoon, I'm sorry, from 6 to 8. On March 1st, we will have our 2024 HCDE Chili Cook-Off. Now, folks, I just got to tell you. Now, so we'll have Western theme. I'll put my cowboy hat on, which I wear once a year. I'll have my cowboy boots, the buckle, the whole 9 yards. But we will have 2 contests for the finest chili you can get in this county, made by our employees. But we will also have a cornbread contest too. Yes, because I love cornbread, so we had to throw that in as a contest. And so that will be on this floor. It will start, you have a flyer in your folder. It will start at 11:30. The judging will begin at 11:45, so certainly all of our board members are welcome to attend that. But we actually revitalized that last year. It had been multiple years since we had one, so this is the 2nd year in a row that we're doing that. Also, March 26th, I will conduct a leadership training for Region 5. So it has been hectic in the past month or so, and will continue to be. Dr. Amesqua has stepped out, but I want to speak on something significant that happened recently. As you know, you'll vote on this later, we went out for more money to get a maintenance note, and we found out that we had a credit rating that was superior. Now I'm gonna pare this down so you kind of understand. The highest credit score you can get is 850. And I'd like to think everybody in this room has a credit score of 800 or higher, but we know that's not true. And we all know that when you have a super high credit score, you get the lowest interest rates. You're able to buy things that people couldn't even conceptualize that you could buy because your credit score is so high. Harris County Department of Ed received a AAA credit rating from Moody's, which is basically like a 848 credit score. It is exceptional, and it speaks to the quality of Harris County Department of Ed, certainly our Board of Governance, the administration and leadership, the people, the employees, but more than anything, it's the services that we provide to the citizens of Harris County. We get analyzed in every single facet of this organization to determine what that score is, and we are not a traditional school district, so that's not an easy task. But to have a AAA rating is phenomenal, and so really certainly serves as affirmation that we're going in the right direction. Obviously, they don't think we're going anywhere. If anything, they think we're going to get bigger and better. But it's also a point of pride and something that we need to be proud of. With that, Madam President, that's all I have.
Thank you, Superintendent. I do want to ask, you did mention Dusty Baker, and I want to know, do you know that he invented the high five?
I did not know that.
He is the inventor of the high five, y'all.
Really?
And that's like a big deal, you know, but apparently it was at a baseball game in like 1975, and somebody was on the base celebrating, and he ran up and hit the hand, and now we have a high five. Thank you, Dusty Baker.
Who invented the pat on the butt?
Oh.
Don't know.
You're going to have to research that one.
Just asking. I'm curious now.
Yeah, REI, excuse me.
Hey, y'all, Trustee McGee said it was a doctor who invented that. When you were born, he pat you on the butt. That's hilarious.
All right, we're going to move on to the annual division update by construction. Who do we have? Joe. Thanks, Joe.
All right, now we get to see how we spend all that money, where that credit rating goes, right, Ms. Colbert? All right, here we go. So we're construction services, and we've got Thomas Plapp, who is our fixed asset clerk, and Albert Valadez, our environmental specialist. I think he's en route. And myself, construction director for 6 years. And we all fall under the leadership of Dr. Michelle Williams, our new executive director. And so our division goals are to provide service and support to all the different divisions by collaborating and understanding what their needs are. And here's what we do. Our fixed asset clerk performs annual capital inventory, and he's able to maintain the records of all the fixed asset transactions as well. Our environmental specialist performs safety and fire inspections, and he also does playground inspections and the ropes course inspection over at Fortis. And myself, I work with the architects, engineers, and contractors to develop and finalize the plans and specifications, and also assist with the land acquisition, appraisal, and environmental reports. And so here are our completed projects categorized by our funding source. And in our 2020 bond projects, the first two were managed by LAN, the program manager, and Adult Ed Center construction cost was $14.9 million and a total of $18 million. Our High Point East Middle School was $7.2 million with a total cost of $8.5. And construction services managed ABS East with a construction cost of $12.3 million and a total of $13.5. And next we've got a grant-funded project by Health and Human Services for the Head Start expansions. Barrett Station was at $1.9 million in construction cost, and Humboldt Early Head Start was at $1.7 million in construction costs. In our current projects, we've got the admin building rehabilitation at about $12 million construction cost and a total of $14.4 as of today. And currently, we're also working on a disaster recovery relief funds for the Coolwood Head Start project, which is about 70% completed. And I'd like to note that we are approximately about 3 months behind on this project. But we are at $7.7 million in construction costs and a total of $8.5 million, not including the land acquisition. So here's some of our pictures of our Adult Ed Center, which looks gorgeous at night. The staff entrance, the typical conference room on the first floor, the classrooms on the third floor, outdoor seating. There she is, Goddess of Grit. Yes, sir. And here's our break room. I definitely want to make note of the sophisticated finishes that we're able to bring to the table here. Our ABS East project. One of the notes I want to definitely express is, the term completed. We've substantially completed these 3 projects: ABS East, High Point East, and Adult Ed, but we're still waiting for final completion on these projects. So here's our sensory room. And our superintendent testing out our climbing wall there.
We're just trying to determine the weight capacity of that wall.
Okay, so there's our main corridor, our cafeteria. There's the typical life skills room, conference room, reception. And I'm going through these projects and these pictures because I know some of the board members weren't able to attend our tour that was a couple weeks ago. And I want to make sure we see some of the work that we bring here to the table with construction services. There's our High Point East Middle School project, the gorgeous gym, at the main corridor, the break room, the computer lab, science lab, and here we have an overall view of the Humboldt Early Head Start and Barrett Station Early Head Start projects. Those were grant funded. This is our Coolwood project. And on the next slide is when I informed Mr. Colbert that we're 3 months behind. So he's giving me that death stare. But here's when I tell him that the contractor's paying $2,000 a day in liquidated damages. And so here's our admin building renovation and just some renderings of the future boardroom, the board conference room, the 3rd floor main corridor, 2nd floor main corridor, and the lobby. Also our new fitness room. And so I like to point out some of the trends that we saw in 2022 when we saw a rise in cost and construction cost, where the Association for General Contractors was stating that it was about a 23% increase in construction costs. And we definitely felt that in our projects. And so some of the commodities that we use in our projects, such as steel, went up 124%. Copper went up 68%. And gypsum materials went up 44%, truck transportation went up 40%. And all these increases impacted our projects. And again, this is 2022 when we started our bond projects. But as of last year, the producer price index on these commodities have kind of stabilized. We see concrete increasing a little bit more than what we see some of the more residential materials. But as you can see, based off of this information, prices have kind of stabilized in construction. We haven't seen a lot of inflation, which is a little different than what we've seen in the consumer price index. And so I've also noted some of the Kirksey's architectural construction costs. So these are the construction trends that we've seen from 2021 to 2023. And so the building structure cost for your typical mid-rise building, which would be to build a new 4-story building, it's about $147 a square foot. The corporate interior on a building of that size is about $204 for an executive office space, and a mid-range office space is $125 a square foot. And so as you can see, the prices vary according to the finishes, which is comparable to what we're paying at the admin building renovation. Some of the other trends that we've seen in 2023 and 2024 would be the first time in more than 2 decades the U.S. has purchased more goods from Mexico than China, which what we're seeing in 2022, when we had the supply chain issues and we couldn't get our materials or equipment on time, we're seeing that shifting into Mexico. And it has alleviated some of those logistical issues, but we're still experiencing some slow delivery on equipment such as main electrical panels, generators, and those electrical components. Again, U.S. Steel announced that it's selling to a Japanese company this year. So that's going to impact our steel prices. We still don't see we still don't know what the ramifications of that is. Also, the U.S. is involved in multiple conflicts, which affects the supply chain. And the supply chain is the economy. The AI-related electrical consumption will increase by 2027. EV charging stations will lead to more electrical consumption, which will lead to additional costs for electrical components. And so one of the keynotes that I did see was the cost of concrete going up. And we can speculate that could be attributed to the Infrastructure Investment Act, where the government's pumping $550 billion towards new investments and programs. And so to date, our preferred procurement method is the construction manager at risk over the competitively sealed proposal method. So with the CMAR method, we're able to design the building with the contractor. We're also able to order some of the equipment ahead of time, which will help with some of the logistical issues we've had in previous projects. All right, what questions do you have?
Well, I just want to say a couple of things. First of all, I want to commend you and your crew for really trying to maintain the pace that we've kind of set out for HCDE. It's, HCDE is doing more construction projects at once than it's done probably in the last 20 years, combined, Ms. Langlois says. So, I think people don't know how challenging that is, especially in the environment for which you had to do it, yes, where it became a massive and, unstable environment as a byproduct of COVID and the cost and all of that. So you've just done a really good job. Your crew has done a good job. We've had bumps and bruises along the way. There's a couple of projects that didn't finish like we wanted them to. We've had some disagreements with general contractors. But at the end of the day, our goal is to try to improve the footprint of HCDE and have facilities look like what we are. Absolutely. When I first got here, I saw a lot of great people, great programs. They were doing incredible things, but the facilities were horrible and didn't look anything like the program that resided inside the building. And so we aim to change that, and thank goodness we have a board that supported us and also agreed with that vision. And so we're on the tail end of completing that cycle of refreshing buildings, and this will be probably one of the last ones. But you've been at the tip of the spear with that, so I appreciate your leadership, and I appreciate everything that you and your department does. So thank you, sir.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carriel. We have an annual division update from Adult Education with Dr. Arnaud.
Madam President, board members, Superintendent Colbert, and executive leadership, I'm Eduardo Honnold. I'm the Senior Director of Adult Education, and it is my pleasure to provide the update for the division for the year 22-23. Thank you. And an update for what's going on in the current year. I've had the honor of being the Senior Director for the Adult Education Division since June 2023, but Adult Education, sometimes people say it's a program of second chances. And I guess it's a second chance for me too, because it is my second time being the director of the program, and I appreciate the confidence that Mr. Colbert has given to me in becoming the leader of the program again. I also want to say that and be very thankful to the board and to HCDE for the wonderful building. And it's fitting that we came right after this presentation, because it's been really a dream come true. You know, we believe that adult education has great things to, has a great plan for the future, and certainly that building is fitting of our goals and our aspirations. So I think it's also hopefully reveals what HCD's commitment to adult education is in the future, and our role in helping adults achieve better lives and better futures here in the in Harris County and across Texas. So our mission, put it simply, is to break the cycle of poverty in Harris County, in Houston. And the obstacles are large. As you can see, we have 1 in 3 adults struggles with functional literacy. 16% of adults in Harris County do not have a high school diploma, and that prevents them from sometimes getting jobs, from getting or keeping jobs. And the good news is that we know how to fix that. We know that getting somebody a high school diploma may mean a 14% increase in their wages. It also means that those individuals are more likely to participate in their communities, they're more likely to vote, they're more likely to read to their children. So it has positive effects across the board. And we know how, so this is the pathway. We are in the process of helping adults achieve better lives. And is it simple? No, absolutely not. Our adults face many challenges in reaching their goals. They have families, they have jobs, they have cars that don't work, and that it requires a lot of grit, a lot of determination to achieve those goals. But our superintendent baptized the woman on the mural on our new building as the goddess of grit, and it is because it is a testament to the struggles that many of our adults face in reaching those goals. So it may take a few stops and starts, but our adults are ultimately going to succeed, and it is our adult education staff, our teachers, our managers, all of our staff that has its job is to cheer them on, to support them, to encourage them, and to help adults get back on track. So let's meet a few of these folks. Our management team. We have our director, Linda Fejoko, who could not be here. She's a little under the weather. We have 2 of our managers, Angelica De Leon and Bill Medina, are here, and Bridget Bentley is unable to be here. She's also under the weather. And we have our secretary, Janie Montes, who has been with us for a long time, and she is the person responsible for our victory in the chili cook-off on Friday. At least that's what I hear. No pressure there, Janie. But equally importantly, we have 162 staff members, 33 full-time, the rest part-time, who basically do the job of registering, testing, teaching, and making sure that our students get the services that they need. And we do this day in and day out. For many, it's a labor of love, and We have many of our staff, many of our teachers are retired teachers who have decided to continue giving back to the community by working for adult education. We have staff that works full-time during the day who takes their time to become adult education teachers in the evening, including 5 of our HCDE employees that work for other divisions who are working for us in the evening program as well. So it takes a village to get this done, and we appreciate all the hard work that our staff, our teachers, both full-time and part-time, do every day to serve our students. So what do we do? As you can see from this graph, we have a wide range of services. Our largest service is English as a second language. Last year we had almost 3,000 ESL students that came through our doors. Our next biggest service is GED preparation, or HSC preparation, with about 1,000 students. And we have a vocational certification program as well that serves about 600 students a year. So this is bottom line of what we do. And this is not a one and done situation for most of our students. Many of our students progress from being English language learners to getting a GED and to getting a certification. So the idea is for our students to progress as far as they can go with the skills that they have, and we'll find a way to help them succeed. In terms of how we deliver our services, at least in 22-23, we were still serving our students mostly through virtual classes, online classes provided by teachers through Zoom, and supported by distance learning as well. 77% of our classes and our students fit into that category. I'm happy to report that that's something that is changing. This year, we are basically flipping that equation, and by the end of this year, we will probably be at 60% face-to-face class and 40% virtual classes. And a large part of that is our new learning center that has provided us with the opportunity to serve students face-to-face and to have traditional classes for our students. This is our current service area. As you can see, we are spread throughout west, southeast, and north Harris County. And we also have partners, organizations that we serve in Liberty County as well. Our students. So our students are a reflection of Harris County in terms of ages and gender and race and ethnicity. In terms of the majority of our students are in the 25 to 44 age range. They're in their kind of prime age for advancing in work or getting a job. So they're basically in the prime of their workforce capacity. 80% of our students are women. So it's a testament to the belief that many women have that education is the way to succeed and to improve in our lives and in their lives. And we hope to be able to attract more men into our program. And we have to find ways to encourage men to look at adult education in the same manner, but we're very happy to serve our students in any way that they need. Let's look at adult education enrollment trends. So as you can see, in the first the years before the pandemic, we were hovering around almost 7,000 students or 6,000 students, 6 to 7,000 students. After the pandemic, we saw a significant shift in enrollment, and we're beginning to recover from those trends. So last year, 22-23, we served 4,465 students, and happy to report that this year we're likely to see a dramatic increase from those numbers. As of today, we are serving 4,300 students, and we still have 4 months to go in our program year. So,
may I ask, what
sure.
do you believe to be the reasoning behind it looking like it's dropping from the 21 to 22 school year to now?
That's a good question, and my guess is that it's probably not having a learning center available that's the year that we had the construction, and we did not have the learning center. And I think it's also the transition. Last year was the year that we began to make the transition from being essentially a virtual program to having going back to face-to-face classes again. So I think that transition also perhaps had an impact on the overall numbers. But not having a learning center, I think, is probably the biggest reason. Sure. So right now, adult education is part of a consortium of 14 programs here in the 13 counties that surround Harris County, and we are the largest program in Harris County, with over 4,000 12-plus participants. That's participants who reached at least 12 hours. So we continue to be a leader, not just in Harris County, but we're still one of the largest programs in the state of Texas. In terms of student performance, we are measured by what are called measurable skills gains, which is basically whether a student makes progress in a state assessment, receives a GED, or achieves a workforce certification. And at least in the Harris County area, in the consortium, our performance is well above the average for the consortium, and certainly significantly higher than that of our other programs that are comparable to us, such as Houston Community College and Lone Star College. Our workforce certification programs in 22-23 involve allied health, construction, and office administration. And last year we had 595 students who reached 12 or more hours, and 347 of those students, about almost 60%, achieved a workforce certification that year. And we had 119 students who achieved a GED, an HSC certification, and that number is growing, and we hope to improve on that number significantly this year. We are currently at 76 students achieving a GED as of today, and with 4 months to go, and we believe we will increase last year's number by about 25%. Our GED graduation is one of the most exciting events of our calendar, and we certainly appreciate HCDE leadership and board members attending. It's always just an exciting time for us and for our students. So let's look at some challenges and opportunities coming up. Let's talk again about the new Adult Education Learning Center. It was inaugurated in July, and we began classes early in September. As of December, we had hosted 66 classes and served 898 students just between September and the end of December. So we are fully utilizing the new Adult Education Learning Center, and we hope that by the end of the year we will serve approximately 1,500 students in the Learning Center alone. The Learning Center is pivotal in our strategy to increase enrollment by at least 20% this year, and has been instrumental in shifting our strategy from virtual learning to a more balanced approach that includes more face-to-face instruction. And The Adult Learning Center has also served the community by hosting 60 educational and community activities, including conferences and meetings, since it was inaugurated in July. So it's offered an additional space here at HCDE for community activities. So what are we looking this year and into the future? Our biggest goal is to strengthen our Career Pathways program, our vocational programs and certification programs. We are really looking forward to increasing the variety and the quality of our vocational certification programs. And not only that, we expect that as we develop these certificate programs, we will develop the employer connections that will ensure that people are not only are trained, but that they have a job waiting for them once they get a certification. One of the exciting events that took place in November of this year was our first sign-in day, in which 45 students got letters, pledges from employers for jobs after students earned their certifications from Harris County Department of Education. It was an exciting ceremony, and we hope to have this ceremony, a similar ceremony, happening this semester in April to make the connection between education and jobs, and to strengthen our connection with employers and with with the benefits of having a job. And the third part that we really want to focus on is supporting our students, not just giving them an education, but making sure that after they leave, we provide them support in finding jobs, in taking the next step towards post-secondary education, perhaps going to college, perhaps going into other training. And we believe we want to be able to offer support for the student at every path along their career pathway. This is our game plan for the Career Pathways model, for the expansion of the Career Pathways model. We really want to develop multiple opportunities for our students to receive training in the areas of allied health, business technology, construction, transportation, supply chain management, and education. These are 5 areas in which we've identified are high demand areas that have high demand occupations, where we can provide high quality training to get our students into the path of a good job. And we are on our way to developing this model. We have many of the components, but in the next years, we hope to not only strengthen the availability of these trainings, but the connection with employers at every step of the way. And finally, HCDE has submitted a strong application for funding for the next 5 years with the Texas Workforce Commission. As some of you may know, we are at the end of our 5-year cycle of funding from the Texas Workforce Commission, and we are excited about our prospects to receive funding and to continue expanding the mission of adult education and creating new opportunities for our students to succeed and to become a leader in adult education, not only in Harris County, but in Texas and in the country as a whole. That's the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Thank you. Would anyone like to pose questions?
Did I hear you correctly? Did you say 60% of adults in Harris County?
16, sorry, 16.
Thank you. You heard that too?
I heard 60 as well, Amy.
Yes. That's about 600,000 individuals.
Thank you, President Duhan. I was curious as to, with our service areas, are they based on a need or just simply space available that we can obtain?
Both, absolutely. They're also based on a historical division of areas in adult education between different providers in the area. The north part of Harris County traditionally has been handled by Lone Star College. They have a lot of programs over there, and the southeast has typically been the area where Houston Community College has had more programs. So we can serve students anywhere, so it really depends on the relationships that we develop and the partnerships we develop to offer those services. But I think that the pattern that you see is kind of a legacy of our service areas in the past.
Yes, sir. I was just curious because I see if you look at the map at the south here, we have locations on the southeast side of town, but not necessarily the south side of town. So I think that's something if we can expand.
Absolutely.
I think that'll be great.
Noted.
I'd just like to say that how proud I am of our adult ed program. This organization made an extraordinary commitment to adult ed in the form of a $19 million building to enhance a federal program. And so, you know, all of our board members up here are major advocates of the adult education and helping those people trying to, you know, help themselves. Sometimes life gets in the way. But I have very aggressive and audacious expectations and goals for our adult ed program. And so I think that we have the talent and the people. We certainly have people in need. We have the facility, and we have a governing body that's aligned with exactly that. And so we need to have the biggest impression possible on the people of Harris County through education, and I think adult education is the way to do it. Although I don't like the fact that parking is a problem at the building, I love the fact that parking is a problem at the building. You know, just yesterday, I think, maybe it was today, I saw cars parking in grass. And, you know, we've worked out a partnership with the church because people are lined up around the building seeking education. They're not seeking a hot meal or a lottery ticket. There are people parking in the grass because they're trying to improve their life. And they think that by getting an education, they can do that. And that's something that I'm absolutely passionate about. And so I really appreciate your leadership, Dr. Arnold. But I would say to you and to your staff, we need to keep the pedal down. And we're going to be aggressive, and we're going to do things that people never even conceptualize doing, because I think that we have the ability to have the best adult education program in the United States, not Texas. It's in the country. And we will demonstrate that by the impact we have on people. And they will tell the testimony of how great your program is. We won't have to. So thank you for your leadership, and I appreciate you, and let's keep it going. Thank you.
Apologies, I need to stay there for a little bit. So I saw that it looked like 1,500. Is that the capacity or the expectation, or is it both?
That's a good question. The capacity, probably, we have 22 classrooms, so possibly.
So it's more like the expectation of what we're.
It's the expectation of how many people we will serve this year.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We could probably serve more folks. It could lead into some logistical issues in terms of parking and other issues, but certainly 1,500 is completely doable, maybe a little more down the road.
Okay, thank you. I was kind of wanting to get an understanding of the bandwidth there. I appreciate that. And then I just wanted to ask, on top of what Trustee Brown was saying, what kind of data are we using to determine which programs we're offering? I know you were saying we're filling in gaps based on what other things are not being offered, but do we have data on what's needed right now? Is that what we're using?
Yes. So our application for funding was based on a very close analysis of both the educational data from the census and from census tracts across Harris County. It's based on economic information as well as demographic information. So we look closely at the areas that have the greatest need in terms of the number of individuals who don't have high school diplomas, and the number of individuals who don't speak English as a second, don't speak English very well. So those are the two main factors that guide our locations. We also work with our partners in the community to find new areas or areas for space. So
Are you able to name any of who they are right now? I'm just curious about who all we're working with specifically.
Sure. They're school districts. So right now we're working with Klein ISD, with Aliff ISD, with Katy ISD, and we have a number of churches and other organizations that are supporting us.
Thank you very much. I'm greatly looking forward to watching everything grow and watching your leadership in it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Anyone else? Richard.
Thank you, Dr. Arnold. Just a couple of questions. You highlighted Houston Community College and Lone Star College as not necessarily our competitors, but the partners that are in this same fight to educate our adults in our county. Can you share just who some of these other providers are?
Right. Other providers include San Jacinto College is probably the third next largest, and there are several organizations that provide literacy services that are part of this consortium. Baker Ripley is one of them. The Alliance is another one. United Family Services is another one. So there's a large collection of organizations that serve Harris County, but also the surrounding counties, because the consortium includes the 13 counties surrounding Harris County.
The HGAC area.
Right, the HGAC area, correct.
I also noticed that the percent attainment looks like we're doing a little bit better, but it's still somewhere around 10%. And what do you think is the main factor that doesn't allow the majority of the students to get there?
So we're talking about the GED attainment. Yes, so we have about 1,000 students that begin GED classes or continue from a previous year with classes, and about a little over 10%, 11% are achieving a GED in the current year. That means that many of them will achieve it when they return the next year. For many adults, achieving a GED, it may be a matter of a couple of years. It takes time, for students to achieve the skills that they need to pass the test, and for many of them, it's a stop-start process. So they may be able to do it one year or one semester. They may not be able to do it the next. So it's a factor of adults having the time and being able to balance their lives with being able to devote the time that they need for their education. So it's a difficult process. We are certainly, by next year, we hope that certainly the percentage will be improving as we encourage more and more of our students to go out and test and be successful. And we have developed a fast-track GED program that I think is having an impact, and I think will improve those numbers. But the bottom line is that obtaining a GED for an adult is a difficult process that requires overcoming a lot of obstacles.
Would you say if we measured it over 3 years or over 5 years, how much would that percentage go up?
So my For this year, the current year, I expect that the number of GEDs will go up by 25%. So last year we were at about 119, 120. We expect to be at about 150 by the end of this year. So we're going to see some improvement, and you can hold me to it next year. And we hope to be able to continue improving that number, that percentage. From my standpoint, and it's not just a matter of teaching our students, it's a matter of encouraging them to go test, because that's another, it's a big barrier. Many of our students are ready, but the idea of actually going out there and testing and putting themselves on the line is a big challenge. And many of them would rather continue studying until they feel completely sure that they're ready. We're trying to break that cycle, encourage people to take risks, it's okay to fail, but you need to try. And that's the idea behind our fast track strategy, is to get them ready, but also get them ready to test and to take the risk of succeeding or failing, but taking that first step.
Yeah, I taught GED part-time in the evenings many years ago, and I remember feeling almost like a failure because I couldn't get more of the students to pass, and I just remember feeling just a lot of pressure, and I was working with kids that had dropped back in after a few years of dropping out of high school, and so there was some different dynamics than I think the typical adult learner that you're probably dealing with.
And I think it works both ways, because sometimes teachers feel like they can't send the student until the teacher feels that the student is absolutely completely ready to go. And that's never going to be the case. So something that we're developing with the Fast Track program is basically as soon as a student reaches a passing score in their practice test, we send them to test. No matter whether the teacher agrees or not even if the student, we're going to give them a voucher and go test. Okay. And we'll see what happens, because ultimately the actual test is the best predictor of how you're going to do. You can't, you can try and guess whether you're going to be ready for that test, but only the real test will give you the right answer.
Two final comments about the career pathways. I think we've talked about it before, but I want to again encourage you, the administration, to reach out to our local labor unions to try to connect with the construction pathway, to try to connect as many of our students to those apprenticeship programs that are available. Many of them are here nearby. The plumbers union, the electrical union are right here on the loop. And then the other area that we are addressing is the medical field. The county, the Harris County voters passed a hospital bond recently, and so there's going to be a major investment in LBJ Hospital, which is no more than a mile or so east of here on the loop. Over $1 billion will be invested in that to hopefully turn it into a level 1 trauma center. So the amount of jobs in the medical field that will be available in this area are going to grow exponentially, and talking about providing opportunities for some of the people in Northeast Harris County to get out of poverty. There's going to be some good jobs available. So,
absolutely, and allied health is our largest area of training right now. One of the reasons we had trouble parking last night is that we had 67 people show up for a CNA registration, for which we only have 25 spots, but that's the level of demand that we have for those services. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alnott.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. Item F, other reports from board members concerning attendance or participation in a board or HCDE related conference. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add? No. All right. Item G, a report from committee chairs. I'll only state that we had a feasibility committee meeting and that we are looking forward to some things that could potentially come out of those discussions. I think that it can be something great potential for our future. So, continued. Monthly financial report from Dr. Amescua. Everybody's leaving. It must be time for Dr. Amescua.
Clear the room.
Your part must just be the really exciting part, and that's why.
I'll try to get it exciting. Okay. I don't know about that. Okay. Our financial highlights as of January 31st, there's two reports. All our reports are on our website. The balance sheet as of January 31st, assets of $41,476,444, liabilities of $2.6 million, and equity of $3.3 million. This was updated for the audit that was presented last month. And so right now we have excess revenues over resources as of January of $13,166,614, of which will be spent for the rest of the year because we had our tax money comes in the month of December and January, so we get a lot of the cash in the first 2 months. Our financial ratios as of almost halfway point, 67% versus 72% on the percentage of fund balance to expenditures. Working capital ratio holding strong at 39 million. Unassigned fund balance ratio at 42%, just the same as last year. Debt to income ratio, our first payment is in February, so you will see that ratio change in the February meeting. Tax revenue, we're at 27% versus 33% last year. So we will have a much larger levy to collect this year, so you will see that number go up. Our indirect cost ratio is 3.3 versus 2% at the same time last year. The fee for service ratio has actually gone up at 31%. Turn it off, sorry. No. 31%, and that's due to additional contracts for this year. So you will see a spike in our contracts with school districts of about 4% higher. Our growth ratio is 42%, which is significantly higher than last year at the same time. Budget activity, we had a budget amendment in September, 526,532, and we'll have another one in this particular month. We'll present that in a few minutes. Our inflows, our revenues, we're at overall 54% in the general fund, which is a little bit ahead of, we should be at 42%, so we're at 54%. So overall, including debt service and grants, we're at 35% budget to actual. In our expenditures, we are under the linear expenditure rate of 42%. We're at 38%, and overall we're at 42% when you take a look at all the different funds. Our COVID money for general fund is still $255,895. We spend all the $4.2 million in our Head Start COVID expenditures already, so that's already over for Head Start. Our donations year to date, we are at $124,766, of which $80,569 are for this month. These are primarily for Center Education Success. A lot of those dealt with the January event at the early winter conference. I believe that's where that's at. Our values holding strong at 653 billion. So we started with 639 billion, so we're at 653 billion for the year. So if that trend continues, we'll have a little bit excess revenues at the end of in terms of our tax values. And so that could mean additional revenue, again, depending on how we ended up in August. Taxes that we've collected so far, half of the levy has been collected, 49% of the budget, roughly 50%. We've paid our HCAD fees at year-to-date $49,749, and tax office has $355,656. Here's the comparison to a year ago. We were at 53% last year, almost 50% this year, but remember, we're going to be 49% of a larger levy. We're going to collect over $30 million in revenue versus 27 at the same time last year. Our disbursements for the month, all of them are posted on our website. 5.6 million, 434 funds disbursements, 475 transactions, and 6 bank wire ACH transfers. In our segment information data, or Center for Educational Success, a subsidy of $644,393, records management $362,791, school-based therapy services $1,535,125, and the schools right now at 4.2 because we bill every 6 months. So right now we are billed for the second half. So that will go down as we end the end of the year. Our choice partners is doing well at 322% ratio, 3.6 million in benefit rate variance to the general fund as of January 31st. So that's in good trend right now. So you will see that continuing. We did have our AAA rating. You'll have later on a presentation regarding our Moody's rating. And we have an amendment for the actual funds that we need to record. So this is related to the issuance of the bonds that you will get presented in a few minutes. Our foundation update, net equity, we are at $679,143. The last year's audit was presented to the Educational Foundation and accepted, so we will post it on the website, and so we have $679,143 in equity. And so this includes a lot of the programs, and so you see the balances by program in the foundation, and so we report those on a monthly basis. In terms of lease revenue of our project update, we continue with a small business program for construction. We have PFC monies in the retainage left over about 1.5 million, and then 500,000 in the maintenance note. So overall, we have a CIP of 13.6 million at this point in time at January 31st. And this is kind of small. I'm sorry for that, but it's 99% on AB East, percentage of completion. High Point East, 94, and 95% adult debt. And of course, Irvington will have additional funding for that project for equipment and completing the project. 14 million in renovation at Irvington, and we have, that's the report for the month of January. What questions do you have regarding the financial statement report?
Any questions? I have no questions. Thank you, Dr. Masco.
Okay, and then we have the investment report, and we haven't seen the Fed Act here recently, but we will see where that's coming up ahead. All our information is posted on the website. We have a investment by fund of 52 million, of which only 321 is for the PFC. We have Lone Star 31%, Chase 9%, Texas Class 16%, Texas Star 22%, and Texas Pool 22%. If you recall from last month, this number was way low, and that's basically a lot of the taxes that are coming in are going to TechStar to balance the investment. In PFC, we have 75% in tax pool. The rest is the Bank of Texas. Our values, our portfolio from one year to the next has dropped by 16%, or a little bit over 10 million, and that's because we've spent the money in construction, and so it's no longer available for investment. Our funds are basically earning overnight money and at 51.7 million. We've earned year-to-date 903,803, and in the PFC 8,884. Earning 5.38 currently, and so you'll see the rates continuing to be on the short end at 5.25, and you will hear later on the presentation on that we were being able to borrow at much lower numbers than the 5.25. What questions do you have at this point in time?
Any questions?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
If you're able to move the item.
Yes, so before we go to the consensus items, may we move forward from the non-consensus item 7.2, approval of a resolution authorizing the issuance of Harris County Department of Education maintenance tax notes, Series 2024, providing for the payment of said notes and resolving other matters incident and related to the issuance, sale, payment, delivery of said notes, including the approval and execution of a paying agent registrar agreement and the approval and distribution of an official statement. Do I have a motion? A motion made by Trustee Cantu and seconded by Trustee McGee. I would believe we have a presentation.
Yes, we do. You have a handout that you have the prospectus and also the presentation of the results of the competitive sale this morning. I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Lewis Wilkes from U.S. Capitol, and then he'll introduce the rest of the team, the bond counsel, and also our chief underwriter.
Thank you, Dr. Mesquit. Lewis Wilkes with U.S. Capitol Advisors. Glad to be with you today. Madam President, Mr. Colbert, members of the board, we are here to present the sale of the $15.950 million transaction that was completed today, and I'm going to just scroll through this. You have this maybe as a handout as well, but the timetable that we've been working on pages 1 and 2, we priced the notes today with RBC Capital Markets as the senior underwriter. Clarence Greer is here, and he can say a few words in a few minutes if he'd like. We got good, very good pricing, we feel like. Should everything go today well, you approve the resolution, you should have funds in hand on March 19th, so closing on March the 19th. Distribution list is page 3, just showing all the parties involved in the transaction. Bond counsel Marcus Dietz is here as well. He'll speak to you in just a minute about the documents to approve this transaction and move forward. There's been a good bit of discussion on the rating from Moody's. I just wanted you to have the report there. You can see that it shows a AAA rating, and you can see all the credit kind of opinion that they provided. We won't go through all of that today, but you're certainly welcome to look at that. One thing we did want to touch on, Dr. Amesqua wanted just to know where you stood versus other Texas entities, school entities, and you can see there's only 8 in the state of Texas school districts that are rated AAA by themselves. So
is that the whole state of Texas?
That's for the state of Texas for Moody's AAA rating. So you can see the 8 listed there, of which Harris County Department of Education is listed.
So hold on, I'm just trying to get perspective here. So in the state of Texas, we have like 1,038 school districts in the whole state. 1,100 schools or so. 1,100. Yes, let's just round it out. Let's just say 1,100. Yeah. And that list represents the only entities in the whole state out of all 1,100 They got a AAA rating.
On their own credit, that is correct.
Yeah. So that's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
You're saying that we're part of that, the best list.
Part of the top of the creme de la creme. That's
There we
right.
go. All right. I will settle on that.
You don't know what you just did using those words.
Can you say we're exceptional?
Creme de la creme is
No.
exceptional. That's right.
Exceptional.
Exceptional, yes.
Thank you.
So you should be proud of that, because that is a huge accomplishment. I just maybe hit a button I shouldn't. Okay, so then we started the pricing this morning. We'd had several calls earlier in the week to kind of talk about the pricing with RBC Capital Markets and our head trader, David Holland. And starting on page 11, you see the final results. The target number that we were trying to get to was $16,313,000 in project funds. So that's what y'all needed to complete your project. And we got there with a par amount of $15,095,000 plus premium that was generated in the transaction. So our net proceeds are a little over $16.5 million. It will be distributed $16,313,000 to your project fund. We've got a balance or a cost of issuance budget of $142.5. That is to pay all the cost of issuance of the transaction. Anything left in that budget will come back to you and can go to your project fund. $79,829 for the underwriter's discount, RBC to underwrite the bonds, and then the additional proceeds of $1,341.38, which will also go to the project fund. So you'll get a little more than the $16,313. You can see the true interest cost 3.738. 3.738 is the true interest cost on the transaction. When I think I was not here, I was at another meeting in January, but when David Holland was here that afternoon, I think we presented a 385 as kind of a target number that we thought we'd get on the notes at that time. So we're about 11 basis points better than that, so we're pleased with that. And then you can see the coupons ranging from 5% down to 4%, and then the yield of a 282 ranging to a 4.08. That is what is then averaging out on a weighted average basis to that 373.4. And I believe here is the debt service on an annual basis for the life of the bonds. We also structured this knowing that there could be a lease revenue bond transaction coming later in this year or whenever it's ready. So we structured these so they would fit nicely with your overall revenue should you decide to issue the lease revenue bonds. And then here is just the debt service on a semi-annual basis. So we're very pleased with the transaction. We're very pleased with RBC's performance given the pricing today. And I'll be glad to answer any questions before I invite Marcus Dietz up to talk about the legal steps. Anything? Okay, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to work with you guys.
Thank you.
And of course, Dr. Amesqua, it's been a pleasure to work with him as well. So, there you go.
Good afternoon. Marcus Dietz with Orrick Harrington Sutcliffe. I don't have a presentation per se. I've prepared all the legal documentation. I believe you had a copy of the draft resolution authorizing the bonds. We've now completed that with the final pricing information. So I'm just happy to answer any questions you may have about the legal process or anything else that you might have.
Anyone? No. We're good.
Okay, thank you.
And can you say exceptional also?
Exceptional. Rated higher than the U.S. government, if you think about that.
Ah, there we go.
I'd like to invite RBC Capital, which is our primary underwriter, to say a few words.
Now, Clarence, you start off with how exceptional we are.
Definitely exceptional. And your mission is near and dear to my heart. Again, my name is Clarence Greer, Manager Director of RBC Capital Markets.
And your mission, serving the communities that you serve as a proud father to special need children on the autistic spectrum, I know the battle, and I thank you for the partnerships that parents like myself can forge with the leadership teams that you guys have given us hope and inspiration. And that AAA rating, I tell you, about 20% of it is based upon management. From the team of 8, the total team, the superintendent, the board, as well as we also saw it with Dr. Meskel, him being able to give us all the information from the investors, all the questions, very timely, and position us to be successful with your credit. I know a lot has gone into it, and we're definitely believers in the mission and love to stand behind the credit, and we actually put some underwrote some of the bonds. So, we want to take everybody out of the risk business associated with the credit, and by risking our own capital, about a couple $1 million. But that's something that we're going to definitely work out. Proud to do it because we're partners. And I want to thank you, Dr. Meskel, for your leadership, sir, Dr. Colbert, sir, and just the members of the board, again, for your mission. It's personal for me because I know the struggles that special needs families have. That's my reality. So thank you again for the opportunity for allowing RBC Capital Markets to serve as the underwriter on this transaction.
I want to thank you for your comments, but also state that the administration here makes our job easy as Board of Trustees. So thank you guys for all of the work that you have put into this. You make that work. Thank you. You had something else you want to say? We're still in discussion.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Madam Chair and members. And along those lines, as you mentioned, Dr. Meskel, I didn't know where we were going to celebrate the financial management team with the awards that were received at TASBO. I don't know if it's fitting here. As you mentioned, creme de la creme, that's what we have here at HCDE, and we're so appreciative. The Award of Excellence, purchasing, and in financial management. Those are unheard of as well, statewide. I believe only 32 received the Award of Excellence in financial reporting out of the 1,100 independent school districts, open enrollment charters, and ESCs, and so that's to be commended, and as well as the purchasing continues to receive that award of merit as well. So we're so appreciative of the staff. And like you mentioned, Madam President, that really do make our job a lot easier, and I feel real good about being on a board here. And that's just some of the observations from 90 days in, and so really proud to be associated with the GOAT, HCDE's financial staff. So thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. I am so grateful for your ability to see and understand all of those things and express that to us as well. All right. Do we have a vote, guys? All in favor? Passes. We got 6-0. Thank you again. So, back to consensus. I would like to pull items D, 3, and 7. Is there anything else anyone would like to pull? F1.
F1 is the one.
All right. Withholding those 3 items, do we have a motion for the consensus agenda?
So moved.
Motion made by Trustee Hinojosa, seconded by Trustee Cantu. Thank you. Do we have a vote? All in favor? Oh yeah, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, 6-0. Thank you. All right. Item D3, and really the questions that I have for 3 and 7 are the same. Essentially, the ratification of interlocal expenditure agreement for fiscal year 2024 Case for Kids Partnership Grant for the period of 10/1/23 to 24 in the amount of $297,831. Do I have a motion? Motion made by trustee Brown.
Seconded.
Seconded by trustee Hinojosa. Discussion. Dr. Carruthers, I see a couple of schools on here, and one of them is a charter school. And my question for you is this. Were there any schools who were vying for this service who were unable to receive it? Did any of these schools beat out other schools?
Did they beat out other schools? I do not believe in this partnership cycle that happened. I believe everybody that applied was funded. We did have some HISD schools pulled out because of all the state work going on with HISD. But other than that, I believe everybody was funded. I can double check though.
I would appreciate that.
Yes.
I just want to bring up for discussion amongst the board that our constituents are the same people who are voting for a board of trustees for these public school districts, and we are helping to ensure that these public school districts and our constituents are having their needs met. Whenever we have charter schools that are using these services, we do not have the same ability to ensure that they have an elected board of trustees in the same capacity. And so I wanted to bring that to all of your awareness. As long as they're not beating someone else out for these services, I am okay with it, but I would like for you to all have that in mind and continue the discussion into the future. Is there any other comment that anyone might have? No. Seeing none, I'll put it to a vote. For item D3, all in favor? 6-0. Thank you. And then for 7, ratification of the interlocal expenditure agreements for fiscal year 2024 Case for Kids project case debates in the aggregate amounts of $70,500. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by trustee Hinojosa, seconded by trustee Brown. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Dr. Crump. All right. So, moving forward, approval of contract award RFP 23047 DR2 software services for the period of 3/1/24 through 2/28/29 to the proposers, offering the best value to HCDE divisions and meeting the specifications outlined in the proposal. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by trustee Hinojosa, seconded by trustee Brown. Discussion.
No, I'll be abstaining. I'm a board member on Pro-Unitas, so I'll be abstaining from this vote.
So, trustee Hinojosa says that she will be abstaining from this. Is there any further discussion or questions? No? Seeing none, let's put it to a vote. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0-1. Is that how you list that? Thank you. All righty. 7-1, consider adoption of resolution concerning emergency administrative leave with pay for HCDE staff in accordance with policy DEA local associated with severe winter weather on January 16th, 2024. Do I have a motion? Motion made by trustee Brown, seconded by trustee Hinojosa. Any discussion? Seeing none, vote. Motion passes 6-0. 7-3, approval of audit services engagement with Whitley Penn, job number 21028YR for fiscal year ending 8/31/24 for an estimated amount of $57,400 per Texas Education Agency requirements. Do I have a motion? Motion made by trustee McGee.
Seconded.
Seconded by trustee Hinojosa. Any discussion? Seeing none. For a vote? Motion passes 6-0. 7-4, consideration and possible vote to appoint a director to the Harris County Department of Education Public Facilities Corporation.
So for this one, Mr. Joe Carrione, who has served on the PFC Board of Trustees, or Board of Directors rather, since January of 2020. He is currently in holdover status because his term expired actually last year, January 15th, 2023. And so the board, if you so choose, someone could make a motion to appoint Joe Carrione to serve on the Board of Directors of the PFC for a 3-year term.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Trustee Dick, seconded by Trustee Cantu. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, let's put it to a vote. All in favor? Motion passes 6-0. All right, and now we are at executive session. Under the Texas Government Code, pursuant to any and all purposes permitted by sections 551.001 to 551.084, including but not limited to 551.071 to 551.074, we are going to executive session at 2:41 p.m. Regarding future agenda items, does anyone have anything they'd like to bring up? No? Seeing none? We will have a motion to adjourn. Motion made by Trustee Brown, seconded by Trustee Hinojosa. All in favor? And we are adjourned at 6:0 at 3:23 p.m.